There are crimes in the headlines right now that have people shocked, outraged, and in some cases baffled, and we're getting the very latest on all of them from the host of Fox News Channel's America Live, Megyn Kelly. Great to have you here again.
Great to be here.
Okay. Love your take on things. So why don't we start with the case of Tennessee mom Tori Hansen, who put her 7-year-old adopted son, Artyom Savelev, on a plane back to Russia by himself. She claimed in a letter pinned inside his jacket pocket that he was violent, had psychiatric issues, and that she no longer wanted to be his mother. Has she, at this point, been charged with anything?
No, she hasn't been charged with a thing, and it doesn't look like they're going to charge her, which in my mind seems a little ridiculous, because we've got parents getting charged for leaving their kids in their car for 10 minutes while they run in to get some groceries. This woman, I mean,
not that we
she did give him a note. There was a note.
But then Megyn,
but she sends him off to Moscow, and nobody's even considering.
Did she think this was like
American citizen?
He's an American.
So if I put a note on one of my kids and sent them off to Miami, I would be in jail.
Damn straight.
I want to know, Megyn, how long did Tori have Artyom, and did she even try to contact the Russian
people? She gave the old college
people?
try for 7 months before she decided this kid was no good and needed to go back to Moscow.
The folks back in Russia
No, in fact, what the adoption agency says is that she actually called up after she got him in September. She called in December and said, I like him so much, I want another one.
Yeah.
And then come April, she's like, oh, he stinks, he's back to Moscow.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to downplay her problems, but you gotta try if you're gonna adopt. She was his mother legally. And
she should have taken him to the Tennessee Family Services also. She didn't do that step.
The grandmother claims that she got him some therapy and it didn't work out. But I'm just saying, you adopt a kid from Moscow, you got to expect when you adopt him at 7, he's going to have some problems.
Well, now he's going to have big problems.
But here's an interesting tidbit that we didn't know before. Her sister, what's her name? Tori's sister, adopted Artyom's cousin.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, she's kept him.
Her sister
that one's worked out okay.
His cousin. Yeah. And that child's doing okay.
But didn't we hear that there were sort of things being said in the press about no one saw him outside playing in the backyard?
I'm sure this mother had difficulty. Look, and I'm sure that this kid, if you talk to people who have adopted kids from Russia, and there are so many parents who have done that successfully and love this, and they'll say that there are some adjustment issues, but the problem for this mother is it doesn't even look like she tried. She called psychologists a couple of times, according to the grandma. I mean, you get a kid from a Russian adoption agency, orphanage,
or anywhere
who's 7 years old, and you don't expect there to be serious developmental problems. That's what you take on as an adoptive parent. You have to do everything you can to try to help the kid.
Or don't put a 7-year-old on a plane by himself across an ocean.
She said that the Russian orphanage didn't give her all the information.
Yeah, she did say that.
So she might have a case there.
I find it hard to believe when all the Russian adoption parents that I've talked to, parents who've taken Russian kids, say that they bend over backwards to tell you about all the children's issues because they don't want it to not work out the way this one did. Who does that serve?
Right. I want to move on to another case that has us all kind of knotted in our stomachs. 15-year-old Phoebe Prince hung herself in the stairwell of her family's home on January 14th after weeks of taunting by her classmates. Reports say she was physically threatened, called a whore, Irish slut, for dating the same boys who dated 2 of her alleged tormentors. 6 teens have been charged with felonies and connections with bullying that led to her suicide. What exactly have they all been charged with? And have they been equally charged?
The main crimes are statutory rape and harassment.
Explain statutory rape to me.
Because the 2 boys allegedly slept with her, and they were 17 and 18, and she was 15.
Right, so it's an age issue.
Rape.
They didn't rape her. Okay.
Yeah, so
now, the school, they're claiming that they didn't know anything about the situation, but one of the alleged guys, one of the alleged bullies, he was suspended
One of the gals was suspended for one day because a teacher overheard her torturing Phoebe. Do you remember this when you were in high school and the mean girls would, I mean, haven't we all been there? Don't you remember? Those scars don't heal.
Oh, I've been called an Irish slut up to this day.
I mean,
well, in your case, it's right.
No, but these girls target her sin. Phoebe Prince's sin was she dated one of the cute guys at school. Yeah. She was new. She was in from Ireland.
And
she was pretty. And they targeted her and made her life a living hell.
Where were the teachers? Where were the adults? How can you tell children or young people, come to me, I'm the adult, I will look after you?
Now they claim they didn't know. Now they claim, well, we didn't know the whole time.
They suspended
one teacher overheard.
But Megyn, let me ask you a question. As a mother, I feel like, and I did have mean girls in my class. Yeah. But if anybody goes near my children, I'm going to do it the hand that rocks the cradle way. I will take them out in back of the schoolyard myself.
You know what, these are...
Can I do that?
These are
in trouble, right?
These are Irish immigrants.
Plus,
you can't. Then it could lead to more torturing because if you have to get your mommy involved. I mean, these teens are in a tough position to know how much parents.
Is bullying a crime?
It is in most states in the union. It is.
So what's the punishment that they'll get? what, if anything?
These kids could be looking at life in prison for the statutory rape. That's not going to happen.
The boys. What about the mean girls?
Yeah, it's a misdemeanor, so probably not serious jail time.
Wow.
No.
But because this is such a national story, doesn't them going to jail kind of send a lesson out to everybody? Like bullying won't be tolerated in our country?
I hope so. Parents need to stay on top of their kids. They need to stay on top of their bullying kids.
Let me ask you this. What happens to adults then that do the same thing? Because we had that case last year where the mother pretended to be a kid. Another child killed herself. So what happens? Does she get retried if these kids actually get...
No, it's a different story. You need a direct harassment law to speak to the conduct, and usually there is such a law. That Lori Drew case was weird because it was on the internet and it involved computers and so on. But harassment laws should cover this kind of conduct.
Yeah.
And I really do. I'm not big on like government intervention on every little thing. And there is going to be some bullying. You can't always involve the government. But come on. We're seeing this more and more where they are getting brutalized. This girl, she was having things thrown at her, soda cans as she was on her way to school.
Where are the damn
tears every day. You got to stay aware.
I mean, you think of the Texas cheerleading mom, you know, who hired somebody to hit the cheerleader. I mean, how is it any different from
this kind of between us?
Parents need to get a
parents and teachers
Quickly,
and principals.
Before we go to the Survivor producer that is allegedly being looked at for possibly murdering his wife. No, he was, I think, seasons 4 through 8. I was season 2 on Survivor. Monica's body, his wife, was found in a sewer. Why is he the prime suspect?
Well, they say, number one, he was allegedly having an affair, a torrid affair for 6 months.
Okay.
Or no?
These are the reports.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to the lady.
Allegedly.
Her name was Joy.
Was it really?
Just saying.
An Italian slut. No,
Anyway, he had wounds on, he had scratches on him. His story was reportedly not straight to the police.
But they were trying to get back together,
they were fighting.
Right?
No,
They were fighting in the hotel the night before, which, you know, now he's going to have to explain. His story is all over the board. I don't know.
But he hasn't been charged, but he
good.
can't leave Mexico.
Yeah, until they do
He's
charge
turned in
him.
his passport, I believe, is what I read today.
It's one of those
Megyn,
don't
you
leave
want to take
town
it?
until we get back to you.
So
but
he's
not
what they
looking
call
good
a
for him.
person of interest, maybe?
Yes.
Well, no,
For
I
all
think
of
they're saying
us.
he's a suspect.
For all
Yeah,
of us.
exactly right.
But now,
Megyn.
he's obviously going to want her body cremated.
One would think if he's guilty,
But who gets legally, who can sort of have
the next
the body?
of kin gets the body.
Are you hitting on me or we have to go?
We have to go.
That's it? Figure out cremation versus not a right.
I have one thing I have to say. I only have one thing I have to say. Thanks so much for having me. Fox News Channel, 100 months at #1 next month.
It is 100 months at #1.
Thank you.
America Live with Megyn Kelly airs weekdays on Fox News. We'll be right back with Lily Tomlin and Leslie Jordan. Thanks, Megyn.